Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Mike, this is Build and Tinker, and today's a great day because it's new build day and we always love starting a new model. I've just taken the 1966 Batmobile off of the bench and replaced it with the 1989 Batmobile, which is what we're going to start today. A jump forward of over 20 years and a very, very different beast indeed. This is the Fanhome 1/8 scale model. And if you're new to partwork models and you're just getting started, then let me run through some of the things that might be useful for you to have before you start your build. Most important is a large, clear workspace. Here I've got a cutting mat, which I do most of my builds on. It's useful because it tends to protect both the desk and the model itself. I also have foam. I keep bits of foam in different shapes and sizes, including complete sheets that I can lay down and put the model on. Anything will do as long as it's soft, clean, and won't scratch your paintwork. Microfiber cloths are also really useful for laying down first before you put a painted part like a hood or a large body panel. Pretty much everything in a partwork model screws together, so you're going to need some screwdrivers. I use these. These are Vera screwdrivers. I bought them from Mike Lane Mods, and this pack includes the sizes that you're most likely going to come across when you're building a partwork. We don't tend to use the straight flat blade ones very much, but we certainly use this. This is a PH0 and sometimes the PH1. PH0 will get you through most things. These are quite nice because they're magnetic and they can be magnetized with this and demagnetized as you require. They've got a nice rotating head so that you can hold one end and turn the other. And they're quite comfortable in your hand. They're also quite hard wearing. I also use the yellow versions of those, which are the electrostatic protected ones, so that they won't. They're designed for when you're doing electronics, so that you don't get static charge in the circuit boards. And finally, you're going to need a box. Finally, you're going to need a box. Partworks come in many parts, obviously, and they don't always come in the order that you're going to install them. For example, we're getting a wheel and parts of the front nose in today's build for the 1989 Batmobile. They're not going to be fitted to the car for a long time, so we're going to need to store them. And throughout the build, we're going to have lots of pieces we're going to need to keep safe. So a box is really important. I use stackable tubs that you can get from any kind of hardware or homeware store for, I pay about £9–10 for 3 of them. They've got lids, they're quite large, and I can fit almost the entire model in it before the bodywork goes on. They're very useful. Also, I buy little boxes with multi-compartments in for screws. You'll get spare screws with almost every pack, and it's worth keeping them because you sometimes need them later on in the build. So with that covered, let's get started with the first few parts of the 1989 Batmobile. And here's the contents of our first delivery. We have 2 boxes of parts, 2 build magazines, and this collector's guide, which includes details about the model and the film and various aspects of what to expect. Also, there's the free gifts that come throughout the build. We're going to get some posters, a mug, a metal plate. The Batmobile didn't have a license plate. Often they give you a license plate. Well, this particular one didn't have one, but they're going to give us a metal Batmobile plate, a t-shirt, and a miniature 1/4/3 scale version of the model. If you subscribe to the premium subscription, you will also get the display case. The display case comes at the end of the build. It's one of the last packages to be delivered, and it's got an illuminated base as well, which is quite nice. You'll get that if you're a premium subscriber. If you're in the UK, you will get printed versions of the magazine, whereas if you're in the US, you will not. You will only get the digital. My guess is that Fanhome are trying to negate some of the impact of the tariffs for importing goods into the US at the moment, and it was probably a toss-up between that and raising the price. And I think I actually quite like the digital magazines because you can zoom in on them on screen and have a look at the pictures a little bit easier than you can with printed. I believe that UK customers aren't going to have access to the digital magazines, which makes no sense to me at all. If they've got them already, they may as well let us have them. That's what they've done previously. But it doesn't matter, we're going to make it work, and we're going to have an awesome model. And we're going to start by opening the first magazine and the first box. And the first box was the largest of the 2, and we have these pieces here all nicely wrapped. So let's get these open. So here we have all of the pieces that come with issue 1, and You start to get a sense of the scale of the model when you look at some of these. This piece here, for instance, is the front nose. It's the sort of cowling at the very front of the car. It's a large metal piece, really nicely made with a matte black finish. But you can see how massive it is. And that's just a small part of the front of the car. So I'm quite excited by this. Again, I have no idea where I'm going to put this model when I'm done. But maybe I could encourage the kids to move out and I can use their bedrooms. I mean, they're 12 years old plus now. So it's really good. Looking forward to getting this piece together. So we've got that front cowl. These are the side panels that run down the side of that. This is part of this front assembly that goes behind that cowl. There's a turbine fan, the iconic nose cone, some belts, other little pieces, and of course all of our screws. And they have given us a screwdriver. We get a basic screwdriver like this with every sort of part work kit. They're reasonably good, but I much prefer the Veras. They're much more comfortable to hold, especially when you're having a long session building. But this will get you by in the interim period between receiving the kit and buying a nicer set of screwdrivers. So let's have a look at stage one. So in this first stage, we're going to start attaching this piece here to these side pieces. Now these are finished body panels and they are painted. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a piece of foam down on the bench. And we're going to start by taking the nose cover and the right hand hood cover. We'll lay that down here, and this very simply drops over the top of these two posts, these inner posts here. And in fact, once it fits in, there's a couple of little static posts to hold it. It fits quite nicely. We're going to screw these two in with some A screws. Now all of these parts are metal, so we want to make sure the screws go all the way in so that there's no loose fitting, but obviously don't over tighten anything. You can go crazy and snap a head off a screw, and you don't want to do that. We simply repeat for the other side. And then we need to put two little screws in these tabs at the end. We use the C-size screw. And that's both of the panels installed now, and if we flip that over, you can see we now have the large part of the front of the, I guess you'd call it the hood. I don't really know what's underneath it. I'm guessing an engine of some kind. But that's the long iconic hood. Now this is matte paint. It's got quite a nice finish, but it does pick up marks from your fingers. So worth trying to keep your fingers off of that paint. It's nothing you couldn't easily clean off with a microfiber, but let's try and keep it clean anyway. For the next phase, we're going to take this cowl here. This is the turbine housing, and it needs a couple of pulleys installed onto it. And these two pulleys come in a bag along with this one here. And they are both going to be installed onto the underside. And we put one in this hole location there, and the other one goes into this location there. And they're going to be screwed in from the other side using a B screw. Holding it with our finger on the other side, just going to pop this screw in. And then we do the other one. Keeping in mind these are plastic pieces, so we don't want to screw them in too tight. They need to go in all the way, but not too tight. So these pulleys need to rotate, so it's important that when we do them up, we don't do them so tight that they can't still turn. So just check that they actually still spin when you're finished. This one remaining pulley goes over this hole in the center with this plate facing upwards. There is a keyway, which I guess is for something later on. And they actually want us to put the belts on now, even though this pulley is not actually secured by anything. These are the two pulleys. They have different part numbers, 1-8 and 1-9, but as far as I can tell, they're the same. If you put them on top of each other, they're the same size. It does tell us it wants 8 to go this way and 9 to go that way, but there's no easy way to determine which is which. We start with this top one here because that has to go on first. It's going to go around that pulley and then onto the bottom groove of the center pulley. And with that one in place, we now do the other one. Again, we go around the fixed pulley first because that's not going to come off. And then that goes onto the top groove of the center pulley. Hard for me to show you what I'm doing, but easy enough to do with your fingers. With that piece moved to one side, we're going to take the fairing, the nose cone and the turbine, and we're going to assemble them before we attach them to the front of the housing. We start by fitting the nose cone onto the fairing, and you'll notice there's a little notch in the top of that, and that needs to go into this notch here. And once it's on, it won't rotate. Then we use a D-screw in the center to hold that in position. That's nicely fixed. Next, we need to install some fairing brackets. Now, there are two types. One packet here has 1 in it. The other packet has 2 in it, and that's because I believe they're different. So the packet with 2 in it is 1-13 is the part number. So we're going to open those. We'll leave the other one in the packet for now, so that we don't get them mixed up. And what you need to do is hold this fairing so that the nose cone, as it were, is essentially pointing downwards, and that will allow you to identify the bottom brackets. And it's these part number 13 that go into the bottom brackets, and they simply push into these grooves here, nice and firmly. So that's our two 13 brackets in the bottom. Then the top one takes the 14 bracket. They do look very similar, but they've asked us to identify them specifically for a reason, so they must be different. And that's number 14, just push fit into the top there. That's now assembled. Now we need this piece back again, and we need the turbine. And the turbine is going to fit over this keywayed hole here, like that. And then we put the nose cone assembly over the top of it. Again, making sure it's facing the correct way. So it should look like that when it's done. And then on the back, we'll see there are now 3 holes that we can use to screw all of this together. And for that, we're going to use 3 D screws, and they go in here. And with those 3 screws in, that's this assembly complete. And now we just need to mount it into the bodywork that we created earlier. So with the hood back on the bench, we take this piece and it simply goes in here like so. You can see where it fits through the hole, and there's some brackets for screws here and either side. And we use 3 A screws for that. If you're having trouble getting this piece lined up, just make sure that this little tab here, there's a little fin that goes into a guide rail. Make sure that's located properly, and then it should sit nice and straight. I also had to push mine in this way, so there was a little click before everything was sitting perfectly straight. But that's the front of the car pretty much finished there on the nose cone, at least. So we've got this wonderful nose cone attached to this hood. There is a turbine inside there which does turn. I don't know if that's going to be motorized or not. It looks like it might be. There's brackets on the back, and it looks like somewhere a motor spine could go through. I don't think it would turn very fast because it's all plastic parts and little rubber bands, but it's pretty cool. And that is actually everything for issue 1. So let's move on to issue 2. And here is our box for issue 2, and it contains one of the wheels. I think it's a rear wheel, and these wheels are massive. And these are all the parts required to make a wheel. And look at the size of this tyre. It's absolutely ginormous. It's 10 centimetres in diameter, and look how wide it is. It's rubber with some grip, and then we have the wheel rim, shall I say. This piece is metal. This piece is plastic. Comes in 2 halves here, and then there's part of what could be a rim, and then the centre cap and the Bat logo. This piece is actually made of metal. They want us to start by actually assembling this centre cap, and the Bat emblem goes on to this cap. There's a hole in the middle, and there's a little locating post to ensure that it stays facing the same way up. So we pop that in like that, and it shouldn't rotate, but we do use a D screw on the back to attach it. And that's just straight through the middle. And that's that attached. The screw is a little bit tight. I think that's because it's a painted part, and sometimes they get a bit of paint in the threads of the screw holes. So one way to mitigate that, you can obviously gently rotate the screw back and forth to cut through the paint. But probably the best way is to use a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on the screws where you're going into metal pieces, and that just helps lubricate it as it goes in and stops the potential of you either damaging the part or snapping the screw. Next we have to assemble this part, and it's basically the two halves of the rim, and they just come together. In fact, it came in the packet together and I had to take it apart, albeit it wasn't screwed. They just put one piece inside the other. It doesn't look like there's a particular way round to put it, as long you just need the screw holes to line up with the screw posts on the inner piece. And with that lined up, we now put 4 D screws in. And there we go. Now you might be looking at this rim and looking at this tyre and thinking, how's that going to get through that hole? Well, luckily it doesn't need to, because the opening on the other side is a lot larger. And we go in from this side. Now it's important we put the rim in the right way up. This side needs to be facing up through the larger hole, so it goes in like that. It's not going to work if we put it in backwards. Now, even though this is a much larger opening, this is still a tight fit, and this rubber's not super malleable whilst it's at room temperature. So you will need to heat the rubber up first before you can get this in, because it allows it to stretch over. It's pretty standard with part work models to have to warm the rubber. I do it in a bowl of water, literally 80-degree water for 5 minutes. It normally softens it up plenty that you can just squeeze it over the rim a lot easier. So I don't have hot water in this room, so I'm going to go into my kitchen and do that now, and I'll be right back. And then we have the tyre fitted to the rim. It went on relatively easy once you've got it soft, but what I had to do was use the back end of a fork handle, like a tyre iron, to just work it round. It has left a few marks on the inside of the tyre, but we're not going to see any of that. It's kept the face we're going to see nice and clean. With the rim inside the tyre, we now cover all of this with this inner piece here, and it screws on to these posts. So you just need to line those holes up. And again, we're using D screws for that. You can tuck the tyre in underneath the rim there to hold it nicely in place and obviously smooth out any imperfections. And that's this finished piece attached, and that's how the wheel looks. We don't fit the centre cap yet because we can't do that until after the wheel's been attached to the body. Now that's likely to be some time before that happens, because we've got to make the entire chassis and all the suspension, and then the wheels don't go on probably for a little while. So we need to keep both the wheel and the centre cap nice and safe, and that's where your plastic bags and boxes, or even the original boxes it came in, are very useful for keeping parts safe. So that's the end of this issue and the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really good start to what will be a great model. It's a very popular model already. Even before it was launched, there was a lot of buzz around this Batmobile being released. So I can't wait to see it come together. I am, of course, building the 1966 Batmobile as well, so check out those videos. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button on this video if you like what you saw. It's really helpful for me if you hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing and it helps promote my videos to other people. So in the meantime, I hope you're enjoying your build if you've got started. If you don't know how to get hold of one of these kits, have a look at the link in the video description and I will link to where you can buy it. It's available throughout a lot of Europe and in the US as well. So in the meantime, have a great day and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.